The 12th house creates soul esteem. What is soul esteem connected to the normal concept of self esteem? Soul esteem is this deep connection of the perspective of self as a human and as a spirit, which gives you a sense of permission to go after what you want in life because you are a spiritual being having a human experience. The benefits of soul esteem is being able to feel valued even before you've done something. Most people are locked into the sixth house of productivity, right? Or they want popularity from the things that they have done, recognition from their productivity or their doing. Whereas the 12th house gives you the permission to be worthy and valuable without doing. So, how do you manifest in your 12th house? Recognizing that it's your being state and having fun with that. Here I have formulas for the 12th house, which you can find in my 6th and 12th house bundles worksheet, right? Because the 6th and 12th house are working together, okay? But here's a breakdown of the 12th house formulas where basically you want to meditate and role play, right? According to the formula that I have for you. This actually helps you to take the roles, the serious roles that you find in the sixth house, and change that up in the 12th house for it to be something that you would do in a playful mode. That's the key with the 12th house. In finding soul esteem, you have to be comfortable with your resting state. Your resting state and being comfortable with your resting state is one of the highest forms of hospitality, right? But ultimately, hospitality can take it even further than that. So here are the formulas on the screen for Aries to Libra. And here are the role play formulas for a Libra to Pisces. We'll actually have the whole formula from Aries to Pisces in the 12th house here on the screen. So you can get more formulas like these in the worksheets, right? The 6th house, we talk about that being the space of service, of vocation, where the 12th house is hospitality and vacation. In the worksheets, we talk about how the 6th house is vocation and the 12th house is vacation. This is keys in understanding why role play is such an important thing for the 12th house. As I've also mentioned in previous video, that the 12th house is hospitality. It is the space where we receive therapeutic and basically over the top or treatment and care that we don't typically have, right? That extra therapy that you need. Well, being in the space of role play is one of the most essential therapies to understanding the frequency of being in a vacation versus a vocation, in the sense that one has more seriousness to it and one has more lightness to it, a lightheartedness to it. So really unlocking the 12th house is taking away a lot of the negative narratives around it that are connected to self-sabotage, and recognizing that as humans, we need hospitality. And it's when we don't get this grace and hospitality that 12th house can turn in on itself and have things like phobias and addictions and things like that. So getting through your self-sabotage is by taking extra care of yourself through hospitality. So I'm going to go into the planets now in the 12th house and what they need for hospitality. But please check out the 6th and the 12th house worksheets or the last video that I just did on the 6th and the 12th house to really grasp what I'm putting down about this topic. And I have a very special take on the 12th house, which I want to bring to you guys, which is to understand that the planets in your 12th house are very simple. Okay, and I like to break astrology down in a way that really simplifies it so that you understand it in a way in which you can apply it to life. The biggest thing that you have to understand about planets in the 12th house is that they are on a break. They're on a hiatus because the 12th house is connected to where we take a break from our everyday hustle and bustle pressures of being accountable. The planets in the 12th house are not accountable for themselves. And before a lot of people start judging, be like, oh yeah, because my boyfriend's got this here and my girlfriend's got this here and my mom and my sister, look, like what you have to understand is that People who are born with this placement more than likely chose in this life to not be under judgment and to be under releasing shame from having to overperform for you and whoever else makes them do that, which is why the soul chose for the planets to be there. The planets there are there to experience how to find themselves through taking a break, okay? So for instance, the sun being in the 12th house, this is a person that is not always going to be out in the open, showing themselves off, always expressing themselves. You may see them once in a blue moon show up for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's because they overperform a lot of the times in past lives or in early parts of their lives. They were like so overdone, so over, ego, so stroked that it was almost a detriment for them. That's very possible. They could have experienced like maybe this fantasy of who they were and were deeply disappointed when they discovered that, and not everybody likes them. They may have been in situations where somebody was overly egotistical and they learned that that was something that they didn't want to become. So they take a break from their ego sometimes and don't need to be so prideful all the time. And so what's actually happening here is that the planets are in need of hospitality.